Rachel, as we started to record this, I discovered some breaking news. The Indiana Pacers being up 2-1, it has forced the Knicks to fire Tom Thibodeau again.
Interesting.
They have let Tom Thibodeau go again, outraged that Oklahoma City could fall behind 2-1 to these Indiana Pacers. They have decided to pin the blame on Tom Thibodeau.
It is legit my opinion, by the way, that the longer the Pacers extend the series, they don't even have to win it. The longer they extend it, and certainly if they win it, the worse New York looks.
Yes, I agree with that. I think we're at the point where we have to acknowledge, regardless of how the rest of the series goes, even if Oklahoma City wins 3 straight, that Indiana is really damn good. And we're going to talk more about that, obviously, in the next couple of minutes. But, we should start the show just with a little bit on the Knicks and this completely bonkers coaching search. A coaching search that has gone through, by last count, 4 teams. They have requested permission to interview.
It's more than that.
Well,
no, it's more than that. Let's count together, shall we?
Go ahead.
Houston.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes.
Atlanta.
Yes.
The Chicago Bulls requesting to talk to Billy Donovan. That's 4. Wait, there
Dallas.
was another one.
Dallas.
Who?
Dallas.
Yes, Dallas.
Yes,
That's
the
5.
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. And those are just the current coaches. We've also heard about Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins.
Yes, the coaches that do not have jobs at them.
Weirdly.
Michael Malone also on that list. The way it's being framed by the beat writers in New York, I don't blame them for this. Like, they're doing their job. They're communicating with people inside the Knicks organization. But it's being framed as the Knicks doing their due diligence, that this is all part of a long, long process that they're prepared to undertake to go hide their head coach. I am calling bullshit on that because
I don't even understand the concept of that.
I don't
Can you explain
either. It's like, let's just see what happens. See if we get rejected. Like, this isn't me circa 2005 at the SI swimsuit party where I'm trying my hand at, any swimsuit model that'll take the time to talk to me. Like, this is the head coach of your team. And they can call it due diligence, but if Houston had agreed to allow the Knicks to speak to Ime Udoka would be their coach. If Dallas had agreed to allow the Knicks to speak to Jason Kidd, well, Jason Kidd would be their coach. They're trying to hire the coaches of these teams and are being flat out rejected by the teams to interview them, which by the way, all of these teams, including Atlanta and Chicago, which are in very different situations than Houston and Dallas, but all of these teams are doing the exact right thing. Like, you do not allow your head coach to interview / take another job and leave you in the lurch. Like, every team that any team that would potentially let their coach go would be in the exact same position the Knicks are in. So I find this whole process to be bizarre. I don't think the Knicks are doing due diligence. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason right now to this coaching search. I think they made an impetuous decision to fire Tom Thibodeau. Somebody in the organization didn't like him. Maybe multiple people. Maybe it's James Dolan. Maybe it's people that work under Leon Rose. But they made a decision to fire Tom Thibodeau. They had no idea who they're going to bring in to replace him. And now they continue to look for coaches that might make some sense and are coming up dry every single time. So I think the Knicks are looking pretty bad right now.
I have so many things to say. Please indulge me, because I have not spoken to you since they even fired Tibbs. And I will do very short. I get it. Tom Thibodeau can be difficult. He can wear on your organization. I have covered Tom through 3 teams. I have known him for going on 2 decades. I understand. This is not breaking news. But the bottom line is the point of having that job is to win. It's literally the point. And so when I hear and read by the very good beat writers in New York, oh, well, here are some of the specific complaints players had. Let me list a couple for you, Chris. One was, we didn't scrimmage during training camp. That was a legitimate, offered up as a reason to fire Tom Thibodeau, who got you to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Another complaint, and this is a little more valid, is we don't practice end of game situations enough. That would be more valid if they didn't get to game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, because apparently the amount you practiced them was enough to get you to, wait for it, game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't get it. How you can say he's difficult, he's not quite right for this organization, he's wearing on guys, voice in the locker room, and just throw out the fact that no matter what you're talking about with the voice in the locker room and the wearing and whatever, it still worked. It still worked so well. It worked the best it's worked in a quarter of a century. And I just don't think it's okay when you tell a coach your primary thing is to win, to then fire him afterward. Because next year, if they hire a coach that everyone likes and they have barbecues and they send each other cute little notes and they lose in the first round, do you think that's going to make people happier than, hey, Tom was a little difficult, but we got to the end of the Eastern Conference Finals? I just, none of the logic, even just the premise, has made sense to me. And that goes back to the due diligence thing. So due diligence, right, means we are trying to uncover every rock. I read one quote or one, sort of source thing from one of the beat reporters saying, they want to feel like they need to get a lay of the land and they can't do that if they don't ask for permission. I totally agree with you that that's bullshit, because here's the thing. And maybe you can say Billy Donovan or Quinn Snyder or teams that haven't had as much success. You're going to Ime Udoka, who has been a cornerstone of Houston's revival. You're going to Chris Finch, who just led the led the Wolves to 2 back-to-back Western Conference Finals. There is no way you think he might be available. There's no way. So I don't get it. And Leon Rose is a smart guy. You and I both know him and knew him before he took this job. He knows that. I know that. My 13-year-old kid knows that.
So why do you think they're doing it? Why do you think?
That's what I don't understand. Is James Dolan saying,
thing.
I want him and he's got to do it? Because Leon knows those 2 guys aren't available. He knows that.
I mean, they're getting some of the reporting. Shams Charania over at ESPN's been doing the lion's share of it. The adjectives attached to the no's have been noticeable.
Yes.
Firm no,
Firmly.
just strong no, not interested. Like, these teams have made sure to communicate to Shams and to others that they had no interest whatsoever in indulging the Knicks in any of this. And look, you say that Leon Rose knows better, and I'd like to believe that he does, but
you know that he does.
But he's the man out there asking. I mean, purportedly, he's the one leading this coaching search, and he's calling up his counterparts with other teams and asking for permission to coach these coaches that I would certainly hope he asked. Like I was talking to a few of these teams in the aftermath of their firm no's. Right. Pretty sure Minnesota kind of laughed them out of the room when the Chris Finch conversation came up. Very sure that the conversation was extremely short between the Rockets and.
I mean, can you imagine?
Ime Udoka's, like, that team. What a cluster bleep that team was prior to Ime Udoka's arrival. They win 50 some odd games, finish in the top 3 in the Western Conference. But sure, you can take our coach that is supposed to lead us for the next 10 years and bring him back. And
to your point, leave them with nothing.
Leave them with absolutely nothing. I want to offer up what I think is an educated opinion here that I don't think the Knicks' pursuit of Jason Kidd is over.
I get that.
Look, I think that Jason Kidd is the preferred candidate of James Dolan. Interviewed there in 2020, played there before. I'm sure that's true. I believe that's true. I believe that Jason Kidd is the preferred candidate of Jalen Brunson, former coach with Dallas, has a relationship there. Point guards love Jason Kidd. A lot of players love Jason Kidd, but point guards especially love Jason Kidd. I don't think this is over. I think in the next couple of days, maybe even couple of weeks, we will hear about the Knicks trying to revisit the Jason Kidd talks with Dallas. I mean, I discussed this earlier in the week. I don't know why Dallas would be at all incentivized to move on from Jason Kidd. He is uniquely qualified to coach the Dallas Mavericks because of his relationship with Anthony Davis, a relationship with Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie? You
took
think
them to the
Kyrie's
finals.
resigning there if Jason leaves? I'm not sure he would.
Well, I mean, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Like the only reason I could think of with the Mavericks letting go of Jason Kidd would be that their next step would be a complete teardown, where they would trade Anthony Davis, allow Kyrie's contract to come off the books, and build the whole thing around Cooper Flag. That's the only explanation that I think would
By the way,
make
I
any
suggested
sense.
that to you like 3 weeks ago. You almost laughed me out of the room, Leon Rose style. And your point was they're not going to admit that they made a, quote, mistake with Anthony Davis by turning around and trading him. And I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
There is certainly an argument to do a teardown and just build around Cooper Flag. But I don't think the equity that they've lost with the fans really permits them to do this right now. I think they have to be at least somewhat competitive. I think Nico has to field a competitive team after he stood up there and said, this is the reason we're making a trade, because we don't think Luka is enough to win a title, and we think these guys are in our window's 2 or 3 years. I just don't see how you could turn around. And again, this is you having convinced me how they would actually permit it, even if it may be, as I suggested, the smartest thing.
I think it would be really challenging. And I don't know that Nico Harrison could be the one to do it. I don't know that he could oversee the full rebuild that he caused by trading Luka and subsequently allowing Jason Kidd to go. But if Jason went, and we're putting the cart way before the horse here, but if Jason went, you're not replacing Jason Kidd to coach that team. There isn't another Jason Kidd out there. And I said this in the last episode. Had Chauncey Billups been available, I thought he would have made some sense there. But other than that, there really isn't a candidate that blows you away. Like, you're not going to go down the Mike Budenholzer path, Frank Vogel. These are good coaches, but they don't make the kind of sense that Jason makes to that team. So I'm just saying, I don't think we're done hearing about Dallas. That's just kind of an informed opinion that I've been
That's
hearing
super interesting.
about.
And look, Jason Kidd has been traded as a coach, right?
Yeah.
We all remember he was traded from Milwaukee, but we also all remember at that point, there was a lot of talk prior to that of that partnership splitting up anyway.
Yeah.
There was such a lot of rumblings and reporting around that sort of situation and relationship had fractured already. So it wasn't a shock when it happened and he went to Brooklyn. Went to Brooklyn, right? Am I remember? Is my brain scrambled enough?
Went to Milwaukee, right? Then it was when he forced his
from
way
Brooklyn
out.
to Milwaukee. Yes, sorry.
Well, this is my thing. Like, we haven't heard from Jason Kidd yet, and I'm waiting to hear something either publicly or from people around Jason Kidd. He's kept his cards pretty close to the chest as far as all this goes, and you and I both know, like, if Jason decides he wants to do something else,
Yeah.
he's pretty good at getting what he wants. He did it as a player. He did it as a coach. He could theoretically make things uncomfortable in Dallas until he got what he wanted. So I
spill a Coke on the floor of the owner's office.
Yeah. I just don't think it's over yet. And look, Dallas can hold firm. I would strongly suggest that they do that because I think over the next couple of years they can still field a championship level team. But I do think the Knicks, with an effort led by Dolan and potentially led by Jalen Brunson, are not done going back down this path. All right.
I have a question for you. So for a lot of years, there was definitely talk among players, and I think even coaches, although, there's only 30 jobs, so guys are willing to do it, of, I don't want to go play in that organization. I don't want to play for that franchise. I don't want to play for the crazy owner. There's so much turnover. There's so much infighting. And then James Dolan basically left everyone alone when Leon Rose came in, and it has turned into, with the partnership of Tom Thibodeau, by the way, a completely functional, attractive team for people to go to. I am curious, if you are a Jason Kidd, even if you have a history in New York and all of the stuff, knowing now that things are not as stable by definition, because no matter who made the decisions, you just fired a guy who every year did better than any of his predecessors, and especially this year. And you just said, nah, not so much. Do you think that Jason Kidd, even though he does like the spotlight in New York and all the stuff, do you think that that's an attractive job?
I don't think it might not be a super attractive job for those reasons.
I don't know.
For the fact that I also think the Knicks have a relatively low ceiling. I think they can theoretically be right back where they were, this time next year in a conference finals. But I don't think this team is a championship team.
No.
I think their ceiling is relatively low. What they can do, though, is offer Jason Kidd a pile of money. And I think that's still important to Jason Kidd, a big contract for a next coaching gig. He's got 2 years left in his deal with Dallas. I'm sure they took care of him in the aftermath of that finals run. But the New York Knicks, they operate on a limitless budget. And if they're willing to pay Tom Thibodeau $30 million over 3 years, has been reported to go away, what would they be willing to offer Jason Kidd? $50 million over 5, $60 million, $70 million? How high would they go if they really believe Jason Kidd is the right guy for that job? And I think that would be appealing to Jason. I think winning is the most appealing thing to him. I think getting paid is right behind it, right after that for Jason.